Hey, what's going on? I want to put a video out talking about something. I discussed it a little bit in the waiver wire, but I wanted a separate video just to discuss this topic. Terrelle Pryor from the Cleveland Browns is available right now in almost all fantasy. In your league, he's probably available. He's coming off a strong game. He might be an asset, but not for the reasons that a lot of people are going to be thinking. McCown's got injured for a couple more weeks. A lot of these sites like CBS Sports, things of that, they don't change their positions. You saw it a couple years ago. Dexter McCutcheon's playing for Kansas City was McCluster rather. He was getting a couple running back carries. He was labeled as a wide receiver coming into the season. He was getting some carries at running back, and he wasn't changing. His position wasn't changing. He was still counting as a wide receiver on your roster. So you were kind of getting to play a running back at receiver. Never took off. Never became what it was going to be, what it could have been. But it would have been a huge advantage if it did. And we're looking at that same scenario, but possibly worse here. With McCown out for a couple weeks, Terrelle Pryor is going to get a chance to come in, take some snaps. Most of it's going to be wildcat type things. But he had a little bit of hype about him back in the day with the Raiders. For a moment there, it was like, did Raiders find somebody? This is before Derek Carr came. But Pryor has some ability. He's never been a great passer, but he's phenomenal with his feet. If he could come into Cleveland and give that team a little spark on offense, kind of like he did this week, and he could complete some passes, if they let him take that next step and start throwing some passes out there, if he could take this job, he's listed as a wide receiver in almost every format, and they're probably not going to change that. So in theory, you would have two quarterbacks on your roster you could start week in and week out. Quarterbacks score more points than everybody, especially a running quarterback, which this guy is. So, once again, theoretically, you could have two quarterbacks starting each week with Terrelle Pryor playing wide receiver. Is that going to happen? Is Terrelle Pryor going to take that spot? I don't believe so. He's not a passer. That's not changed. It's not going to change anytime in the future. McCown's probably coming back. He's probably getting his job back. Josh Gordon's coming back week 5. I don't think Terrelle Pryor has much value as a wide receiver strictly. He's a huge Buster Boone guy. Probably wide receiver 4. Really a desperation play most weeks. But if he gets that quarterback spot, he's going to have a huge value. He's going to win a lot of teams their championship. A lot of money is going to be won with Terrelle Pryor at wide receiver if he's the starting quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. So just because that possibility is there, I think he's highly worth rostering in all leagues until McCown's back and we see how this plays out. But until then, I don't think you want to sit here and watch some guy beat you with two quarterbacks because you didn't have a roster spot for Terrelle Pryor. If you've got the roster spot, use it. CBS might, these NFL, they might change his position. They might make him a quarterback if he gets that spot. In the past, they've been reluctant to do that. So I'm not going to sit by and watch. If this decision's getting made, it's going to get made with Pryor on my roster, if at all possible. So I'm putting that out there so everybody knows, everybody understands it. I suggest you grab him if you can till it plays out. If not, beware. I don't think, my personal opinion is this isn't going to happen. But once again, I'm not going to be sitting on the bench watching it. So that's all I got, fellas. All right, later.